Good morning, everyone. I invite you to come on in, find yourself a seat. So, welcome to everyone, both here in person in the room and joining us online today. My name is Coleman Glenn. I'm the chaplain here at Bernathen College. This is our Friday morning chapel time, and part of this time we will have a worship service coming up. And as part of this time, we often have announcements, and there's a bunch of events coming up that mostly are open to beyond the students. So the entire Bernathen College community is welcome to attend most of these events. So I thought we'd go through some of these quickly and then get to President Carswell's address. So things coming up. Tomorrow, let me make sure I get the date and time right. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the College Center. That's the newest building on campus, just down the way. There's a Community of Makers Spring Arts and Crafts Show. You can come out, see local artists, buy something for Mother's Day. And if you haven't been in the College Center yet, this is a chance to come and join us in the College Center. There is also another big event tomorrow. And for that, I would invite Jonathan Klein up here to tell us about the other big event coming up tomorrow. So please welcome Jonathan Klein.
Don't clap for announcements. Is that working? Tomorrow, the women's lacrosse team. Yeah, woohoo. Plays the conference final against Wilson. It's going to be a big, important game tomorrow afternoon, 1 o'clock. Over there. See how this does. Over there. And because 100 students are going to come out, I went out and I bought enough Arizona iced tea and Monster drink for 100 Bernathen College students, and a whole mess of tasty cakes, one free each Bernathen College student. Yeah, you want one? Okay, here. Here's yours. But you got to come tomorrow. So tomorrow, faculty and staff don't get any because if you're over 40, you shouldn't drink this stuff. Okay? Women's lacrosse tomorrow afternoon, 1 o'clock. General Nelson Field, come and cheer while they beat Wilson College. There we go.
All right. Just a few events that you will be hearing more about. CARE, the Community Service Organization, is organizing a trip in connection with New Church Live down to St. Francis Inn. That will be on Saturday, May 13th. So you'll see more information coming about that. Also on Saturday, May 13th at 2 o'clock p.m. and 8 o'clock p.m. is the Bernathen College Spring Dance Concert. So again, keep your eyes open for more information about those things. That's all we have in the way of announcements. So what we have now is we will have, oh, never mind, we have another announcement. Excellent, thank you. So a colloquium Thursday with Dr. Figgy Bryntesen about the ivory-billed woodpecker. So what we have now is we will have a presentation from Eric Carswell. Reverend Carswell will lead us in worship to start things off, and then he will share something of his vision for Bernathen College, talk about where we are and where we are going. So at this point, please welcome President Eric Carswell.
is this from True Christian Religion. The new church is the crown of all the churches that have ever existed on this planet, because it will worship one God who can be seen, within whom is the God who cannot be seen, like a soul in a body. This is the only way we can form a close relationship with God, because we are earthly and think in earthly ways. And such a close relationship must be done in our thinking, and then in the desires that belong to our love. This occurs when we think of God as a human being. Establishing contact with a God we cannot see is like trying to make contact with the limitless vastness of outer space, or like being on the lookout in mid-ocean, but not being able to see anything but endless sky and sea. Forming a close relationship with God we can see is like making eye contact with a person in the air or on the sea, whose arms then reach out, inviting us into an embrace. New Church is the crown of all the churches because it's to worship a visible God. Part of what that is talking about is the picture of a human being that we can get specifically out of the New Testament, thinking of all the things that Jesus did, walking, talking, healing, leading, showing his love and kindness. But I think it's also so important that we form a life, form a way of viewing the world, so that we recognize that the Lord's at work within our lives, within the lives of the people we care about, within the organizations and institutes that we give our lives to. And the reason that's so important is it provides an underlying basis of optimism, of hope. That rather than looking out at the world and seeing what maybe is a very challenging environment, one in which it's hard for things to work, if we can look out and recognize that the Lord can be with us, the Lord can guide us, the Lord is working with people we care about, there is a future and a hope because we see a God who loves us. I invite you to bow your head for a short prayer. Lord, help us to recognize how you're working within our lives. Help us to see that you're guiding us from where we are to a better future. May we trust in this. And now, Lord, hear the prayer you taught us. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. O Lord, forgive us our trespasses. Please rise for a closing benediction. Grace, peace, and truth be unto you from him who is, and who was, and who is to come. Please be seated. So, this has been advertised as the state of the college. And I've been trying to say, that's actually not what I had in mind to talk about. No. What I really want to do is talk about New Church education at Bernathen College. I was very happily retired for a little over 6 months. Enjoying life. Somebody was saying, oh, you were bored. No, I was not bored. There was lots to do. But then I was asked if I'd be willing to consider coming in to serve as president of Bernathen College for an interim 2-year period. And because I care so much about what Bernathen College could do, I said yes, I would do that. And so here I am. Now this is my 5th day, Cinco de Mayo. And I'd just like to reflect a little bit on what I see as the value of a college experience. A great college experience has so many elements. I wonder what Bernathen College students today will remember in 5 years, 20 years, 40 years about their experience here. Bernathen College has this mission that you've probably seen before. Bernathen College in the new church serves as an intellectual center for all who desire to engage in higher education, enriched, guided, and structured by the study of the Old Testament, New Testament, and theological writings of Emanuel Swedenborg. This education challenges students to develop spiritual purpose, to think broadly and critically from a variety of perspectives, and to build intellectual and practical skills. The ultimate purpose is to enhance student, civil, moral, and spiritual lives, and to contribute to human spiritual welfare. Well, that first phrase, Bernathen College serves as an intellectual center for those who want to engage in a higher education, enriched, guided, and structured by the Old Testament, New Testament, and theological writings of Emanuel Swedenborg. I think maybe you recognize that all knowledge has to be put in some order. Yeah, you can have like an encyclopedia article that just has a whole lot of facts, but facts without a framework don't really tell you anything. So knowledge has to have an organization, has to have a principle behind it. So some people picture the world as a chaotic competition for survival, where the strong dominate and the weak wither. It's the kind of thing you want to think about as you're going to sleep at night, right? And so for some people, life is about gaining power and money, staying ahead of others, and in control. But what if we view the world very differently? What if we view it as a place where there is a loving God? So in the Old Testament, we have the statement, the heavens declare the glory of God. You can think of all the things from the natural world that Jesus used to illustrate his parables, or repeated over and over again in the teachings for the new church. The whole visible universe is nothing else than a theater that is representative of the Lord's kingdom. That's of heaven. And this, in turn, is a theater representative of the Lord himself. So, what if we have an organization of information in all subjects that helps us to recognize a presence of a God, helps us to recognize a purpose? That doesn't mean everything's going to go right. The Lord's less concerned about what's happening in our lives right now than where it's going to lead us. And because human beings have to be free, we have this idea that there are things that God absolutely doesn't want to have happen, but he can't prevent for the sake of human freedom. Nevertheless, he's going to work within all that to bring out as much good as he can. So, we had this education structured by revelation, divine revelation. Second phrase, this education challenges students to develop spiritual purpose. Part of what I think this means is that you have what's called an inner locus of control. So you're seeing what's happening around yourself, and you're consciously choosing what to take out of it, how to react, how to move forward in your life. That's compared to somebody who has this outer locus of control, which is stuff happens to me and I don't know why. And such a person can end up having little more freedom and choice than a pool ball that gets hit by, a stick and bounces here and bounces off this wall and that ball until it runs out of energy. That's not a spiritual purpose. That's just being impacted by things on the outside. It doesn't lead to a very happy life. Instead, developing spiritual purpose is somebody who's saying, what am I going to do today? How is what I choose going to make a difference in this world for good? And that can be small things, smiling at a friend. It can be helping out. It can be recognizing that the education that you're getting now is an important preparation for having a mind that employers really want. What you know, what you can think, how you can make decisions. So developing a spiritual purpose and to think broadly and critically from a variety of perspectives and to build intellectual and practical skills. So the most important things that employers are going to look for in the future is not just the facts that a student can learn in 4 years of college, because I'm sure you've heard it said 10 years from now, some of that knowledge is going to be quite different. I remember when I took biology here at Bernathen College a long time ago, the teacher said that when he was working on his PhD, he did not learn things that are now being taught in a freshman college biology class. So just within his lifespan, things had changed. So part of what you're doing is, yes, building a foundation of knowledge and information, but hopefully you're also learning how to learn. Not only that, but what employers are really looking for is somebody who can think critically, recognize things that are wrong, not by somebody telling them, but because they're paying attention, because they care, because they want to have what they're trying to accomplish work better. That's such an important part of life. And what we're trying to do at Bernathen College is to build those critical thinking skills and also build practical skills of how you can glean information out of a setting, how you can judge what its worth is. All those things are going to serve you throughout your whole life. So, that's really important to us. The ultimate purpose is to enhance students' civil, moral, and spiritual lives. So what that means is we want to work on having students be good citizens in this world, a civil life, contribute to the welfare of the country. We want them to have a solid moral life, which is they recognize that the values they choose really makes a difference in the lives of the people around them, that they're committed to being the kind of person that you would want to have as a friend, and to recognize that there's a spiritual level that actually supports both the lower two levels. A commitment to a set of values that it doesn't matter whether somebody's watching us or not, doesn't matter whether there's going to be a consequence or not. We have a sense, I know what I want to do. Here I stand. This is what I'm going to do. And finally, contribute to human spiritual welfare. You say contribute to human spiritual welfare. You might say, what does that mean? I think it refers to how our efforts can make a big difference in this world. A teaching that occurs a number of times in the writings for the new church is this one. Charity itself, or a life of wise kindness, is acting justly and faithfully in our position and our work and with the people with whom we interact. So there's this fundamental idea that part of what the Lord wants is that we're going to make a difference in this world for good. That by the choices we make, it's going to be a better world. And not just better materially, but by our life, we'll be modeling things that can inspire others in their own lives. Well, Bernathen College. As a very small college, Bernathen has strengths and weaknesses. Its small size means that it has a focused number of majors and minors. At some campuses with 90,000 students, there are hundreds of majors to choose from. For some people, making a choice among these is overwhelming. We have classes taught by inspiring teachers, and there are among your peers students who are prepared and attentive. When I attended Bernathen College 50 years ago, most students did 2 years here and transferred because there was only a choice of a religion and philosophy degree or an education degree. Now, there are a number of degree programs and minors that allow a choice and preparation for life. After I did 2 years here, I transferred to Penn State, that is now way bigger than it was when I was there, but it was still large. I did have some smaller classes, but I also had some huge auditorium classes, some of which were pretty good. Others were sort of regrettable. And with these kind of classes, of course, you're not going to really make any kind of relationship with the teacher. If you need help, you're going to be talking to what is often a busy graduate student. It's just a very different experience here. At Bernathen College, professors will know the names of their students. And unlike the huge pressure to publish research on many campuses, the professors at Bernathen College are primarily focused on their teaching as their role. One of the regrettable courses I took at Penn State, my major was psychology. I took a course on theory of learning. I was really interested in that. I had a professor who was working on a new edition of his book. Can you imagine an hour-plus long class with a teacher reading a chapter out of a book? It was not good. It wasn't even well written. But, you know, the life of a college has so many other elements. I would hope that many friendships are being formed. Friendships of people that are getting to know each other from all sorts of backgrounds, and those friendships are enriching. The life in the dormitories can mean so much. Activities where college students work together to accomplish something good. The incredible experience of working on a team, learning how to bring your strengths, how to cooperate, how to prepare, how to be focused when things are going poorly, how to be a good athlete when things are going very well. And yes, let's go to that championship game tomorrow. It's just so much that can be fun in the life of a college. And that those memorable things are something that I would wish for every student. So, what I think Bernathen College is trying to provide is a rich variety of qualities, many different experiences that are academic, a matter of friendship, a matter of making a difference for good, sports, and so on. But all of it is a foundation for being a useful human being. And as I started off saying, I think that part of it, what we want to do is provide a fundamental optimism that comes from believing that there's a loving and wise God working within the tiniest elements of our lives. Another passage that I think is I go back to over and over again is this one from Secrets of Heaven or Arcana Celestia. People are in error if they believe that the Lord has not foreseen and does not see the smallest individual thing with each person, or that within the smallest individual thing he does not foresee and lead, when in fact the Lord's foresight and providence are present within the tiniest details of all the smallest individual things with us. So I like that. So it's really stretching language. Okay, the Lord's foresight and government of our life, providence, is present within the tiniest individual things, of the smallest individual things, in details so tiny that it's impossible to comprehend in any manner of thought, one in many millions of them. For every smallest fraction of a moment of our lives entails a chain of consequences extending into eternity. Indeed, every one is like a new beginning to those that follow. And so every single moment of the life of both our understanding and our will is a new beginning. So it's staggering, but that means that the Lord knew certain events that happened to you when you were 3 are significant in your life now. Things that happened to you when you were in 4th grade are going to be significant when you're 60. Things that are happening now are still going to be influencing your life for good to eternity in the life after death. That's the kind of thing that we go, how does the Lord do that with each of our lives? And the answer is, he's infinite. He can do that. He can pay attention to each of our life. He knows the tiniest things that are going on within our minds. And within that, he's always looking at us with a loving smile. Even when we're doing some regrettable things, he can look at us and go, I know why you're doing that. I hope you recognize there's a better way. So, within all that we're trying to do at Bernathen College, we're trying to prepare people for a useful life, trying to get you ready for a job that's going to be incredibly fulfilling, trying to form your mind so that you'll be a useful person in so many parts of life. And we hope that it's a time that you get a lot of joy from what you do. So, I chose to come and try and help Bernathen College be the best it can be. So, thank you.